Good day. Welcome to Smoke Showing with Jay. Today, I'm going to do a little bit different video. When I started smoking, I had no clue what I needed to get started smoking. I watched lots of videos and nobody really covered it. So I'm going to cover that for you today. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If not, it's all good. Appreciate it all. So let's talk about what you need to smoke. Everybody thinks you need a smoker, first of all, but you don't. I first started smoking on my barbecue, and I used tin foil, and I filled it with wood chips, and I poked holes in it, and I cooked it low and slow. That was my first experiment. Then I went and bought a cheap electric smoker. I think I paid 60 bucks for it. Don't recommend it. And then I progressed, and I bought a full upright smoker, propane powered, that I love and I still use. That works great. And I also have a Weber grill that I use, and I smoke on it as well. So to start smoking, you don't need a smoker. You can just use your regular barbecue. You can buy smoke tubes now. You can buy these square bins that you put wood chips in, or you can take your wood chips, wrap them up in tin foil, poke a bunch of holes in it, and throw it on the side, and keep your barbecue at the lowest temperature you can, and you'll still get really decent smoke. So that's just some things to consider. Having a smoker is definitely nice, but all of us are on a budget. So that's what we're going to discuss as well today, is what do you really need to smoke? Like, what pieces of equipment do you really need to smoke, and what are nice to have? And then there's lots of options out there for, as you guys know, look on the internet, there's hundreds of thousands of pieces of equipment that you can have for smoking. So let's start off with, what do you really need to have to smoke? Okay. Really, the only thing you need is a smoker of some sort. That's all you need. All right. Spices are good, of course, because you want to spice up your food, but most people have spices. The most spices I really use are salt and pepper. I buy restaurant grind salt and pepper restaurant grind pepper because it's really thick. It's really big chunks, and that's what you want when you're smoking. As well, I buy salt, and I'll do a whole video on salt in the future. Salt is not just salt. I found that out the hard way. Every salt that you buy has a different sodium content, which makes your meat taste saltier, as they say, versus other salts. So I've ended up using Fiesta salt, which I actually purchased at Academy Sports. It has the least amount of sodium in it, but there's tons of salts out there. When I ran out of Fiesta salt, that's when I realized there's a lot of differences in salt. They're not just salt. I used to use Sifto or whatever it is that I buy in a big box for 98 cents at the grocery store, but it's not really what you're looking for. So we'll get into that later. So a couple things you need to begin with. You need some seasoning. You obviously need some meat that you're going to smoke, whatever that is, pork, beef, chicken. I always recommend starting with something simple. I was different. I started with a brisket for my very first smoke with my brand new upright smoker. And it turned out really well, so I just got lucky. But I did watch lots and lots of videos on smoking and different cuts, and I trimmed it the way they all did in the video, blah, 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 all that good stuff. I've now realized you don't really need to do that, and I'm going to do a video on briskets in the future, so that's coming up. But let's talk about, what do you really need to smoke? So you need some way of smoking whatever you're cooking, meat or vegetables, okay? Then the other thing that you will need is some kind of knife. I have this one, and you'll need to be able to cut it up, and then you will need some kind of tongs to be able to flip it or get it off your smoker and off your grill. And you also need a thermometer of some sort. This is the one I bought. I've had this one for quite a few years. This is actually, I think, my second or third one. I bought this on Amazon. It's like $19. I'm sorry. Actually, no, this one was like $8 when I first bought it. It's gone up in price. This is a Kaizen. I'm not sponsored by any of these people because this is only like my 10th video, so I'm nowhere near being sponsored by anybody. So I'm giving you the honest truth of things that I use that work for me. So you need some kind of instant read thermometer. Like I said, I bought this one because it was like $9 and I was poor, so that's what I did. And they have an amazing warranty. Anytime I've ever had an issue with one of these, they've literally just sent me one for free. But my last one died after like 3 years, so I purchased another one because they do have good customer service. The other thing that I would recommend that you have when you smoke is your logbook. I've talked about this in other videos for those of you that have watched my videos. I highly recommend that you do this. And what this book is you probably can't see it, but basically every time I smoke, and I have sticky notes in here of things I need to add, but every time I smoke, I write the meat I used, the wood I used, the seasoning, the temperature I was smoking it at, and then I did realize, smoking a couple times, that the ambient temperature has a huge effect on the smoke that's produced from my specific smoker. So I started writing down in my logbook as well what the ambient air temperature was, what the humidity was, because I live in Florida, so we have high humidity, and other times we don't, and that does affect my smoke. I also do air temperature. I do all of my seasoning, the cut of meat that I got, and where I purchased it from, because that makes a big difference as well, where you get your meat from. The time I started smoking, the time I spritzed it, if I'm spritzing it, time I wrapped it, if I'm doing a brisket and I'm wrapping it, and I just write all the details. That way I can go back and see what's been working and what's not. And then after I'm done and we actually eat it, I usually write whether this was good or bad. So if it's bad, I'm not going to do it again. All right, so it's just cheap. I think this was like $3 or $4. I bought it at Target or something, and I got one that has like a plastic cover just because it gets all beat up. If you could see it, you can see all the grease marks and stuff like that on it. So I bought one that has just a plastic cover just so it's a little bit tougher. But I do have sticky notes all throughout it. And these are things I need to add to the book, and just other ideas I had for different smokes on some of my recipes. And this is where I write my recipes as well that I'm using. And once again, that way I know, I go back, I look at it, if it's gross, I won't do it again. So, because in the real world, not everything is perfect, but on all the YouTube videos, every piece of meat they make is perfect. So, but in the real world, it is not. So, all right, so that's all you need to start smoking. Oh, and you need some kind of wood. This is the kind of wood I buy. It's called B&B. I get this at Academy Sports as well. They're like $2 a bag. They go on sale all the time. Normally they're $3 or $4, but they go on sale for $2 a bag. I also keep a running tally of all of the wood chips that I have and wood chunks that I have. And then when I start to get low, I just look on my list and I go to Academy Sports and I buy a whole whack load of it. And I have a little storage container outside where I keep all my wood, and I keep it as unopened bags. Open bags are on the next shelf, and then the bottom are my chunks, and I have those all in order of the wood I use. I only use about 6 or 7 different woods. I've had a couple exotic woods that I've purchased that are okay, but just your normal run-of-the-mill cherry, apple, mesquite, hickory, those are the ones I use the most. So I keep those in stock all the time because I don't want to go out and smoke and forget. Because part of smoking is really planning on what you're going to do and not do with your smoke. So I try to be prepared all the time. Plus you have to get your meat prepared. That usually takes a day or two. If you're doing like chicken or you're doing a turkey, I usually brine mine, so that takes 3 or 4 days. If I'm doing bacon, that takes 3 to 7 days before I can even smoke it, and it has to sit, etc. So try and just keep a small selection of wood. Actually, I have a huge selection of wood at home all the time. All right, so that's all you need to smoke. You don't need anything else. Now, for those of you that shop on Amazon, you know that. Watch everything, put it in your cart, it will go on sale. So I very rarely purchase anything at full price on Amazon because they always go on sale. So this was the Inkbird 4-probe barbecue thermometer. So that is one of my favorites. I use this all the time, and I highly recommend them. They're a solid product. Oh, and it has built-in battery, it's rechargeable, and it's magnetic, which we'll see here. Oops, guess not. Yeah, it's not gonna hold, but there's not that much metal in these, but it is magnetic, and I just stick it on the side of my barbecue, and it just sits there, and my smoker as well. So So that's all that good stuff. Talked about tongs. These are cheap. I don't like these ones. I bought these, I think, at the dollar store. I would never get these ones again, but I needed some because my last ones broke. I have a pair that are about this long. Yeah, probably they're good 18 inches long, and they have a lock on them. Those are my favorite. These are just always open, so I don't really like them, but you do need a couple good pair of tongs. So I bought these because I was poor at the time and I needed some tongs, so I bought these. But I recommend at least 2 good pair. A long pair so you can get into your smoker, and it also depends on your smoker how big you need. My smoker is fairly deep, so I have a big pair. Then I have this short little pair. These are about 8 inches. And then I have a medium pair that's probably 10 inches. So I use these a lot. So highly recommend some tongs. They don't have to be expensive. Like I said, dollar store, these are $1. So will I get $1 worth out of them? Heck yeah, I'll definitely get $1 worth out of them. Well, are these gonna last 10, 15 years? Nope, they're definitely not gonna last that long. But you know, for $1, they did what I need them to do. All right, so let's talk about knives. I am kind of a knife snob. I like a good knife, and I highly recommend, and this was something that I've talked and we argued about for years when we first got married, my wife and I. She just had cheap knives, and I'm always been a big proponent of buying good quality knives. Buy them once and you're never gonna buy them again. Like this knife here, this knife is 25 years old. All right, and this is a Henkel Professional Pro. I don't even know the numbers anymore because they're wore off. I think it's Professional Pro 1 or S, Professional S. So I recommend buying a good knife. This is an 8-inch knife. I have probably 7 different knives that I use, but I'm going to show you the 3 that are really what you need. This is a 7 or an 8-inch knife. Let me see if I can see it on there, but I can't. So, but either way, this is about an 8-inch knife. Recommend one of these. Keep it nice and sharp. As well, when you can afford it, and if you can't, this is a boning knife. All right. Now the advantage of a boning knife is it's flexible. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, it's a very flexible knife. And I use this for trimming a lot because you can get right in there and it's gonna follow the contours of the meat, and it just reduces you cutting off chunks of meat. Like I watch these guys that cut up their brisket and they're cutting off all kinds of chunks of good meat and stuff, and I'm not doing that. I'm not wasting all that meat. I guess if I had a sausage maker like they do, then it wouldn't be a big deal, but I don't want to waste all that meat. So I don't, so I'm very careful when I'm trimming all of my meat to get the fat off. And then I usually render the fat afterwards, which all that means is you put it in a pot and you cook it down until all the fat turns to a liquid, and then you're left over with little bits. Strain it out, and then I keep the fat for cooking and other things. So, off on tangent, you need a boning knife. Highly recommend it. 8-inch knife, a good cutting one. This is a good solid knife. And then this one has been recommended. This is a Victorinox. It's probably 12 or 14 inches. I bought this on Amazon. This one has been recommended by so many people out there, and I highly recommend it. It's super sharp. So you can see how big it is. All right, that's a pretty big knife. Okay, this is great for cutting all of your beef products. It is super sharp, and when you're cutting a brisket, this is awesome. So recommend that one, Victorinox. And then I always recommend a good pair of kitchen shears. I use these for spatchcocking, cutting through cartilage I can't get through, stuff like that. So good pair of kitchen shears. All right, something you probably already have, a cookie sheet. And the reason you want a cookie sheet is because you have to go from the kitchen to the smoker with whatever you're smoking. So this gets wrapped in tin foil for me, and whatever I've trimmed or cut or whatever's going on the smoker goes on here. It's just easier, and then it goes outside with me. All right, much easier. And then the final thing that I recommend is a good cutting board. All right, this one's huge. And the reason I have such a big one is for briskets. I smoke a lot of briskets. This one has a juice collector around the outside, and it has a juice collector in the middle. I would never get this particular one again. I love the size. It's huge. It's like 22 inches long or 24 inches long. It is by Epicurean. Sorry about that. I had to look to see who was making it. This one's made in the US. I love Epicurean products. Don't get me wrong. Just this one with all these little cuts in here, I thought it would be perfect. It would help catch a lot of the juice before it all ran out to the edges. And it does do that. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. The problem is keeping this thing clean is a huge pain in the butt. So I don't recommend this one with these cuts in the middle, but this one with this nice outside deep juice tray is perfect, because otherwise you're going to get all that juice. It's going to be all over your counter when you're cutting up this beautiful beef and other meats that you're cutting. So get a nice big one. Don't be shy. Spend the money if you're going to get a big cutting board. And if you can't, I use a lot of the little plastic ones as well. The other thing that I totally forgot to bring it over here, is you need a spray bottle. Spray bottles are cheap. I bought $2 ones. I bought the $12 ones. I bought the $19 spray bottles that are for chemicals from Home Depot and crap. They don't work any better than the $3 bottle ones. So just buy a cheap spray bottle. I have it labeled, so I know that it's for me, because I usually have apple cider vinegar in it, and water mixture, because I do a lot of spritzing with that. And then I make beef broth as well, and I put it in the one I have. So on one of my other videos, I didn't have my spray bottle because it still had other products in it, and I needed to make a beef broth, so I just had like a little ketchup squirt bottle thing that I bought at the dollar store for 99 cents. So it works as well. So there is tons and tons of things that you can get for smoking. In the future, I'll be buying more stuff because I like toys for smoking and cooking, and I get that from my mom. So hi, Mom, and she'll understand because her kitchen is full of cool stuff, and I don't have that because we live a lot more simple. But that is it for today. So just to recap, a couple things you need to start smoking. You need a pair of tongs. You need some wood chips. And you need some way to smoke your meat. That's about it. And some spices. So, you don't need a whole lot to really get started. All this other stuff is just really nice to have stuff. So, enjoy. So thank you for watching Smoke Showing with Jay. I hope this was helpful. And I will attempt to put links into a lot of this stuff on Amazon. I'm not an affiliate. I don't get any commission. This is just stuff I use. That's probably not going to happen when this video is posted. But eventually I will get that put in at the bottom to all of this stuff. So thank you for watching Smoke Showing with Jay. I don't even know the name of my channel. Wow. Like I said, this is just me in the kitchen. I'm not a professional. I'm not going to go edit all this stuff out. This is the reality of the world. So thank you for watching. Peace, love, and hair grease. Enjoy your day. Thank you all for watching.